Stop! Who just said that? Those were the exact words shouted by a CEO who was running late for a meeting and then froze in the hallway like he had seen a ghost. Because the voice he heard didn't just speak one language. Not two, not three, but 9 different languages, spoken perfectly, fluently, one after another. And the most shocking part? The voice belonged to a janitor holding a mop. Employees walking by literally stopped in their tracks. The CEO's jaw dropped, and the entire office went silent as the janitor continued switching languages like it was the easiest thing in the world. But what happened next? That is the part nobody in the company will ever forget. Because within 24 hours of hearing this janitor speak, the CEO made a decision so bold, so unexpected, that it changed the man's life forever and left the entire office absolutely stunned. Stop. Say that again. Those were the first words out of CEO Daniel Carter's mouth as he froze in the hallway, staring at the janitor holding a mop in one hand and a stack of papers in the other. It was a normal Monday morning at Evergreen Technologies. Employees rushed to meetings, phones buzzed nonstop, and Daniel's mind was already drowning in stress over an upcoming international partnership meeting, one that involved teams from 3 different countries. He didn't expect anything unusual that morning, until he overheard something that made him stop mid-step. Near the elevators, the janitor, a quiet man named Ravi, was helping a lost visitor find the conference hall. Nothing strange about that. But what made Daniel whip his head around wasn't the conversation itself. It was the languages. First, Ravi spoke crisp, smooth Spanish. Then, without hesitation, he switched to flawless French. Just as Daniel recovered from that surprise, Ravi shifted again, this time into perfect Mandarin. No stumbling, no hesitation, no accent mistakes. Each language rolled off his tongue like it was his native one. Daniel, who had spent years traveling for business, instantly recognized true fluency when he heard it. His stress vanished, replaced by shock. He stepped closer. Ravi, how many languages was that? Ravi froze, looking like a kid caught doing something wrong. 9, sir. 9. Daniel repeated loudly, louder than he meant to, loud enough that 3 employees and a passing intern turned to stare. Ravi gave a small, shy nod. It's just a hobby, sir. A hobby. Daniel felt his jaw drop. In that moment, the moment when the CEO discovered the janitor spoke more languages than his entire leadership team combined, the air in the office seemed to shift. No one knew it yet, but this small hallway encounter was about to spark an incredible chain of events, one the whole company would talk about for years. Daniel invited Ravi to his office. Ravi hesitated at the door, clutching his cleaning gloves like they were his last line of defense. Am I in trouble, sir? He asked cautiously. Daniel shook his head. No, please. Sit. His voice was firm, but not unkind. More curious than anything. As Ravi settled into the chair, still stiff, still unsure, Daniel leaned forward. I need to understand this, he said slowly. Why is a man who speaks 9 languages mopping floors? Ravi lowered his eyes. For a moment, he seemed unsure where to begin. Then he took a deep breath, and his story began to spill out. He spoke of growing up in a crowded, noisy neighborhood in India where opportunities were few and dreams were often treated like luxuries. His father, a taxi driver, worked long hours, picking up tourists from airports and hotels. Little Ravi would sit in the passenger seat, wide-eyed, listening to conversations in languages he didn't understand. At first, they sounded like puzzles. Then they became melodies. Eventually, they became passions. He learned from passengers, from old borrowed books, from online videos, from anyone who would teach him even a single phrase. By 25, he had mastered Hindi, Urdu, English, Spanish, French, Mandarin, Arabic, Italian, and Russian. But life had its own plans. His father passed away unexpectedly. University became impossible. Money ran out. And when Ravi moved to the United States, thinking he could build a new future, he discovered something painful. Without degrees or certificates, nobody believed in raw talent. So, Ravi finished quietly, I took whatever job I could get. I never imagined the CEO would hear me speak one language, let alone all 9. Daniel leaned back in his chair, stunned. Here was a man who cleaned trash bins at night, yet possessed a skill set that world leaders would pay fortunes for. And for the first time in months, maybe years, Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in his own company. Inspired. The next day, Daniel approached Ravi with a request so unexpected that Ravi almost dropped his mop. "Listen," Daniel said. "We have international meetings next week. I want to see what you can do. Can you come with me today? Just as an observer." Ravi's eyes widened. No janitor had ever been invited into a boardroom. He swallowed hard, nodded, and followed Daniel upstairs, his heart pounding with every step. Inside the large conference room, executives from the European branch were already seated. They spoke rapidly in French, too fast for Daniel to catch more than a few scattered words. But Ravi? He understood every syllable. Daniel leaned toward him. "Go on," he whispered. "Show them." Ravi hesitated only a moment before stepping forward. "Excuse me," he said politely, in flawless French. "May I translate for you?" The room froze. Every head turned. A couple of executives blinked, unsure if they had heard correctly. But then Ravi began translating, smoothly, confidently, effortlessly. He shifted between French and English, like water flowing from one stream to another. The European team was stunned. The Evergreen executives were speechless. Then, halfway through the meeting, a German representative joined via video call. Without skipping a beat, Ravi switched languages again, translating German to English with the same precision. As if that wasn't enough, a Chinese investor unexpectedly called in. Daniel prepared to pause the meeting, but Ravi stepped in first. Mandarin flowed out of him like he had spoken it since birth. By this point, the room was dead silent, everyone too mesmerized to even take notes. When the meeting finally ended, the entire room erupted into applause. Not polite applause, genuine admiration, directed entirely at the man who, yesterday, had been sweeping hallways. Daniel didn't wait another second. Right there, watching Ravi bow awkwardly in gratitude, he made his decision, a decision that would change Ravi's life forever. The next morning, Daniel called an emergency all-hands meeting. A message flashed across every employee's screen. Mandatory gathering in the main hall. Immediate. Within minutes, hundreds of employees poured into the spacious hall, buzzing with curiosity. Some whispered that the company might be announcing layoffs. Others guessed a new merger. No one, not a single person, expected what was about to happen. Daniel walked onto the stage with a calm but determined expression. Beside him stood Ravi, still wearing his janitor uniform, still holding his cleaning gloves, clearly unsure why he was even up there. The room fell silent. Daniel began. "Everyone, today I want to introduce you to one of the most talented individuals in this company. Someone whose abilities have been hidden for far too long." People looked at each other, confused. Hidden talents? Who? Then Daniel turned to Ravi and placed a hand on his shoulder. "I'm talking about Ravi, who speaks 9 languages fluently, and who, starting today, becomes Evergreen Technology's new global communications liaison." A collective gasp swept through the hall. A janitor, promoted to a high-level corporate position? Mouths fell open. Eyes widened. Some employees clapped in disbelief. Others simply stared. Nothing like this had ever happened in the company's history. Daniel went on. "Yesterday, Ravi assisted in international meetings and handled translations across multiple languages, French, German, Mandarin, better than any hired interpreter we've ever worked with." He paused, scanning the crowd. Let this be a reminder. Talent has no title, and greatness has no uniform. Sometimes the brightest minds are hidden in plain sight. And that broke the silence. The hall erupted into applause, loud, genuine, thunderous. Some employees cheered. A few wiped tears from their eyes. Ravi stood frozen, speechless, overwhelmed by the moment he never dreamed would come. His salary skyrocketed. He got his own office, his own nameplate, his own responsibilities. Within hours, his story spread across social media like wildfire. The janitor was no longer invisible. He had become the company's hidden treasure, finally seen, finally valued, finally celebrated. Within months, Evergreen Technologies expanded into 3 new countries. Spain, China, and Italy, and every single partnership succeeded effortlessly, thanks to Ravi's remarkable linguistic talent. But it wasn't just his ability to speak 9 languages that impressed global partners. It was the way he carried himself, humble, respectful, and genuinely eager to understand every culture he encountered. Executives abroad would often whisper to Daniel, "Where did you find him?" Daniel would simply smile. "He found us." Meanwhile, Ravi's life transformed in ways he never expected. He sent money back home to India, enough to support his mother and younger siblings. He helped restore his father's old taxi, the same taxi where his love for languages had begun. The restoration became a symbol of his journey, a reminder of where he started and how far he had come. But Ravi didn't stop there. He rented a small room on weekends and began teaching free language classes to immigrants, people who, just like him, had arrived with dreams but struggled with opportunities. His classes filled quickly, and soon there was a waiting list. "No matter who you are," Ravi would say, "your voice matters. Your talent matters." At a large company celebration months later, a reporter approached Daniel with the curious question, "Why did you promote a janitor instead of hiring a professional linguist?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Because real talent isn't always found in fancy suits," he said. "Sometimes it's sweeping floors right in front of us. All it takes is someone to stop, listen, and believe." The story of Ravi spread far beyond their company. It became a global message, shared in classrooms, offices, and online platforms everywhere. Never underestimate someone because of their job. Never hide your talent because of your circumstances. And always remember, one unexpected moment can change your entire life forever. And that's how a quiet janitor, ignored by almost everyone, went from cleaning floors to sitting at the head table in international meetings. All because one CEO stopped long enough to notice a hidden genius standing right in front of him. It's a reminder for all of us. Never underestimate anyone. You don't know their story. You don't know their talent. And one moment, just one, can change your entire life. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell me which story you want next.